A lot to digest there. Let's start with the ends. Wright and Thomas were guys that the Browns thought they may be able to kick inside as well. Do you see them needing a veteran tackle on the defensive side of the ball more so than before?
Well, we always felt they needed the veteran defensive tackle. Shelby Harris was a name to band about. Another name that I've been trying to talk about for a while now that I thought would really, really be a good fit here because he could probably play end and he can play inside is Matt Ioannidis, former Carolina Panther, former Washington Commander out of Temple University. And this is really where it's going to get tricky because, how are the Browns going to work these preseason games? You're not, if your plan was to not play Myles Garrett now because guys are going down, you're not going to say, oh, well, we have to play Myles because, you're not going to do that. So, they're going to be really light here for guys that are going to get, reps within the remaining preseason games they have. Going into the regular season, you figure with, Isaiah McGuire and then obviously Obo and then obviously, Zadarius and Myles. You're okay for a week or two, but you certainly want depth. But the question is, how do you manufacture the next month until you get to week one? So it's, obviously a little bit of a difficult spot right now for this team. But look, at the grand scheme of things, you'd rather, these injuries probably happen, August 5th, 6th, and 7th than August 25th, 26th, or 27th.
And again, we don't know the severity of them. You just, anytime somebody leaves a practice like that, you're concerned. Ford, that's another guy. If that is a weeks as opposed to days injury, you probably got to think about bringing in a veteran running back, don't you?
Well, these were conversations we were having already. And then, over the past few days, obviously some of the offensive coaching staff spoke up a little bit and kind of, put a little praise on Jerome Ford's plate and basically said the things that nobody had said previous, which is kind of why we were all wondering, are they going to go the veteran running back or they're not? And then they tried to say that basically they felt, that they were kind of comfortable with what they thought Jerome Ford can give them. Well, now obviously we don't know what Jerome Ford can give us, and we don't know when Jerome Ford can give it to us. So obviously a really tough year. A really tough break for the second-year player who seemed to have a lot of promise. Everybody got excited about him last summer. Didn't really have him rolled for him during the season, but now here you are in this weird situation now. And all we know at this point, right leg injury. So obviously it could be anything from quad to calf to hamstring to knee to ankle. We'll wait till we hear more on it. But tough spot. For a kid who obviously they felt has some promise. The backs who played Thursday night, I'm not saying that they didn't perform well and they didn't look good. But, when you start talking about guys that were battling out for maybe the third or fourth running back spot on the roster, all of a sudden now we're talking about these same guys to be playing the number 2 running back. And you don't want to put such a heavy workload on Nick Chubb because the thought process is 17 regular season games and then hopefully games into January as well. So, yeah, it's not really ideal right now. Every team goes through it as we know it. But, again, still, not the best hand to be dealt at this point in training camp for the Cleveland Browns.